gentlemen, please welcome the Head of Business Partnerships for Retail and E-Commerce from TikTok MENA, Aref Yehia, to the stage.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for having us. First of all, it's a privilege being with you. My name is Aref Yehia. I head the retail and e-commerce team at TikTok. And with that comes a bit of responsibility sometimes, and I have a confession to make that it's kind of intimidating to face these words. What is the future of retail? It started post the pandemic. If all of us remember, it entered our common lexicon. But it wasn't clear what future are we talking about, because the future is made of horizons, right? So the future can be tomorrow, it can be a year from now, it can be a horizon that we can more or less predict, which is the horizon of 3 to 5 years from now, or it could be 15 or 20 years from now, where exponential thinking comes into the equation. So we believe there's humility in doubt, and we didn't want to attempt to answer this question on our own. So this today is a leadership symposium for retail leaders, and that's as well where we started in attempting to answer this question, what is the future of retail? So we thought instead of answering it ourselves, why don't we go out there to the market, meet with the different leaders within the industry, and pose this question on them in the hopes of hopefully finding that common denominator, that one answer to this overwhelming question of what is the future of retail. And this is what happened next.
And so I think it's incredibly important that you keep the customer at heart, despite the initial technology that's brought in.
So circularity is a big part of everything that we do. And when a lot of businesses say we're going to be good at X, we're going to be good to our environment while also being good to our customers.
The experience in the store versus online is actually merged. That means we can see customers who have already shopped with us online coming to our store, and the ones who have come to our store now coming online and shopping with us as well, right? So it has to be a merged conversation. It can never be in its individuality. We are all trying to make this a better experience for our customers, right?
The future of retail, in your point of view, is about elevating these physical spaces that used to be about shopping only and F&B into more of cultural spaces.
Yes.
And places that really become third places.
Yeah.
Because no matter how much the virtual world will accelerate, we will always have a need to meet in person, right? So as human beings.
As far as I'm concerned, I didn't see how much it would evolve within like 5 years of time, right? So 5 years ago or 6 years ago, we're talking about next day delivery, and now we're talking about 10 minutes delivery.
Right.
It's a meaningful and intentional experience that we offer, and therefore a digital tool like a clienteling app and certainly dedication from the team put together is the new level of personalization.
There was a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing was that we got a lot of interesting insights. There were a lot of perspectives. The less good thing was that we didn't end up with one answer, with that one-word answer of what is the future of retail. Because it was more profound than that, and there were so many more nuances than just a one-word answer. There are themes that came out. So sustainability and circularity, specifically in the context of fashion and luxury fashion, really came out very strong, not only in terms of sustainable products, but the entire sustainable journey of that product and the life cycle of that product post-purchase. Technology obviously came up, experience and phygital stores came up. I believe you're going to be hearing from Darman next. And his entire 6th Street store, if you haven't seen it in Dubai Hills, I would invite you, is not about the technology, but about the customer experience in that store and solving for that. When we met with Majid Al Futtaim, they have these big, large physical assets, which are the shopping malls. And they spoke about how they want to transform them into cultural destinations for the shopper, for the consumer. And personalization kept coming up as well. A personalized journey, a personalized product, a personalized customer experience. So we're like, okay, are these the 4 answers then instead of 1? And the reality is not really, because the one word that you kept hearing from every single CEO or co-founder that you saw was consumer, customer, shopper. So if we wanted to find a common denominator, that for us is the common denominator. And that defines the future of any industry, not only retail, not only QSR, or CPG, or auto, or travel, or tech, or telco. It's every industry is bound by following the needs and the wants of the consumer, of the end consumer, that defines where that industry is headed. And for us, there's a lot of simplicity in that, but there's a lot of insight in that as well. And we're in the job, obviously, of entertainment and of addressing masses and millions of consumers in every single market. So we wanted to take a step back and understand, okay, these consumers have a lot of different attitudes and different mindsets and beliefs and interests and behaviors. But what is common? Like, what is a common trend across all of them? And that commonality was, how do they invest their time? So if you think of an average day, an average 24 hours, I know most of you work more than that, but an average person works 7 hours a day and sleeps for 8 hours a day. I know it seems a lot, but that's an average person. So that's 15 hours gone. You're left with 9 hours, and these 9 hours is what we call your ownable time. Today, what is common across consumers, and some might see it as an optimistic thing, others might be intimidated by this fact, but it is a fact that half of that ownable time, half of these 9 hours, 4.5 hours a day are spent on digital entertainment. And I'm not saying TikTok only, obviously digital entertainment including other platforms. But that's mind-boggling for us, because that defines the era that we're in. And that's why we call it the age of entertainment. Not because we want it to be, but because this is where consumers, which are the common denominator to everything that is happening across the industry, are spending their time today. Half of their ownable time every day. And if you take a step back on why is it the age of entertainment, if you think about it, editors a few decades ago used to decide the information that you see. So if you think of a newspaper, of a magazine, a content editor would decide that these are the stories that I'm going to feature to you. So you buy that newspaper, and you read in the order that the editor decided. So that's what we used to call the context graph. This was followed by the age of knowledge, or the age of search, where you still, as a consumer, decide what you want to search for, but you will land upon websites and editorial content, essentially, that has been decided by editors. This shifted completely, and there was a paradigm shift with the introduction of social and the social graph by other platforms, where the information that you saw or the content that you were interacting with depended on a social graph, which was feeding you content based on the people that you are connected with socially, in real life, either friends or acquaintances or colleagues. But that's a lot of the content that you are seeing. As we move into the age of entertainment, and as the number of hours per day is increasing, this is no longer about a social graph. This is about an interest graph, where you decide, based on your interests, you tell the algorithm what is it that you are interested in, and consequently, that's the kind of content that you will be entertained with. And that's why the average user in the MENA region spends north of the duration of a feature film every single day on a platform like TikTok. And it's hyper-personalized, so what I see is different than what you see, is different than what your colleague sees. Each person has their own individual graph, and this is why it's called the For You page. It's literally for you. It's a simple value proposition. We aim to not convolute our value proposition. We are an entertainment platform, and we're operating in the age of entertainment, and we didn't decide on that. Consumers, all of us as end users, are deciding on this. So what does this mean for brands, and what does it mean for retail brands? It means that there's a move from one-to-many approach, from me as a brand manager deciding on this is my visual identity, this is my communication message, this is my TVC. I'm going to take it and put it across point of sale material, bring it to life, and it's a one-to-many approach, into an entertaining approach. And entertainment is many-to-many. You're not the person in charge of your brand message on your own. End users are as well, and end users can create equally compelling content about your brand. I'm a big fan of Bashir ice cream, by the way, and I discover it through end users on TikTok, not necessarily from the official brand account. And same of so many brands that we love and that we interact with. Like, that's how things go viral, is because if you have a passion about something, you share it, and then the algorithm fuels it further by serving it based on an interest graph to the right people. So there's responsibility here. In terms of how do we do creative, we need to do creative that entertains and that is contextually relevant to our consumers, to our end users. And we believe, as a platform, instead of only standing here and telling you, this is how we should do better advertising that is entertaining, we need to give some solutions as well in terms of concrete tools that can enable this at scale across the industry. So we are working together with our partners on reimagining creativity with value and with variety, and we think that there are three approaches to this. There's recutting existing advertising work, there's remixing, while we help take brand content and bring it to life in ways that are on trend and on insight. And the last one is reimagining. So reimagining from scratch in a native kind of way, the way that an end user would put it on TikTok. So how do we bring this to life concretely? There are two solutions that we've introduced to the market very recently. The first one is CapCut. So as many of you know, and for those who don't, TikTok is part of ByteDance, which is a global technology company. And when TikTok was trending as the #1 app downloaded in the world, the second most downloaded app at that time was CapCut. And CapCut is an app from our company, from ByteDance. And what it does essentially is it democratizes creativity. Creativity in the past used to be via editing suites, right? And you would need to go and get a degree in editing and hire a professional company to do that. You can still do that, but today it's in the palm of your hands via CapCut. CapCut would amaze you if you try it. It has a full editing suite with a touch of a button. You don't need to use a laptop to do it. It can add music that is from a commercial-free library, fonts. There's AI enabled as well, templates there, and it can help deliver your brand message in a way that is native, only with a few clicks on your phone. The second thing we've introduced, again, all about concrete solutions and not preaching and not standing here and saying, you need to be more entertaining, but how do we enable you to do that? So we've recently launched TikTok Creative Exchange, or TTCX, and what that is, essentially, it's a platform where it enables you as a retail brand or as any brand within the ecosystem in the MENA region to find qualified agencies, be it them big agencies or boutique agencies that have been trained by our team on making and developing native TikTok advertising that sells and delivers return on ad spend. And it's very easy to use, and there's a multitude of agencies, and this number keeps growing. And that's part of our mission to make sure that we are fueling the entire ecosystem and not only being in the business of advertising, but enabling creative at scale in the region, which is a big challenge. And once we do that, we believe that this works across the full funnel. So it starts from discovery. This is a very quick example from Unas.
نعم لمتى بتخزيني إن شاء الله؟
عفواً كلميني.
ليش أنت شايفة أحد غيرك؟ ولا حاطة عينك على جنطة ثانية؟ ضحكي ما راح تلقين أحسن مني. غير جمالي عليه خصم وتقدرين تدفعين من خلال الكينت. لا وفوق كل هذا توصيل سريع وتبديل سهل. ما هي حلوة تدلل على عمري. المفروض أنت تختاريني من ذات نفسك. عافية الشاطرة.
So here's a Balenciaga bag talking to you in a native way. And this enables the discovery. Then we move into active consideration. And then, obviously, we move to conversion. And the best part for us is beyond the funnel, beyond the typical funnel of awareness, consideration, and conversion, we see a lot of people coming post-conversion to talk about the brand that they bought. And 57% of TikTok users do that after the journey of purchasing. And the reason for that is simple. It goes back to what we started with, the algorithm. This is a place that is for you. Our main page is called the For You page. So if you're passionate about the topic, if you're passionate about a brand, about an interest, about a niche, you will come back and you will talk about it. So the best part, if you want to see engagement on TikTok, is open a video that you like and then go to the comment section. We call these digital campfires. So if you live in Dubai, you've probably been to the desert, you've been around the campfire. A campfire is where you have intimate conversations, basically. Here we call them digital campfire. They're not with people you know in real life, not with acquaintances. It's not a social graph, but these are with people who share your passion and your interests. And that amount of engagement and likes in the comment section sometimes outweigh it than the amount of likes that you see on a main video. So what is the future of retail? This is what we started with. We talked about meeting with different leaders. We asked Majid Al-Futtaim, they told us it's all about turning malls into cultural destinations. Darman told us about the phygital store, and it's not about technology, but it's about using technology to fuel a customer experience and to address real barriers that are coming from customers. We spoke with Shalhoub, we spoke with YNAB. It was about circularity, but circularity went back to what the consumer was looking for. So we kind of agreed that that common denominator for us was not convoluted. It was one thing. It was the customer. The customer was the one deciding where's this industry headed. And today, we stand here telling you that the customer today is spending half of their ownable time, 4.5 hours a day, on digital entertainment. And TikTok being part of that. So we hope that as the customer is telling us this, we're listening to that customer, to what she's telling us, and we're able to shift the way we do advertising or brand communication in a way that meets the needs and the wants of our customer base. And our mission is to inspire creativity and bring joy in everything that we do. So this is why we wanted to share with you a couple of concrete solutions we've recently rolled out in the market, like CapCut, like TikTok Creative Exchange, to further enable this ecosystem to deliver on what we think the future of retail is. So I'm very, very, very thankful for your time. I want to end by playing you a video from one of our partners, the Landmark Group, on what we think was a very good case study done during a month where entertainment was at its peak, which was the month of Ramadan. We'll end with a 1-minute video case study from Styly, and thank you so much for your time.
On the latest episode of Case Studies, based on a true story. The women of Saudi Arabia and Kuwait are social media savvy, fashion focused, and see Ramadan as the season to show off their personal style to their friends, family, and of course, followers. But there's so much pressure to look your best during an already packed season, and you're bound to have a fashion emergency. And who can you call? Styly Fashion Hotline to the rescue. We created the first ever Styly Fashion Hotline on TikTok, giving users simple instructions to create the perfect look for any Ramadan occasion.
خط ستايلي للموضة. إيش؟ في مصيبة؟ عندك إفطار أو سحور وما عندك شيء تلبسيه؟ ولا يهمك، بس تحتاجي لبس أساس بسيط، اديه شوية لون، حلق، سلسلة، هذا الكلام، وانتي جاهزة لطلعة رمضان.
The branded hashtag challenge, along with top view creator videos, allowed creators and their followers to put together and show off their Ramadan style where everyone's eyes are glued. The results were as on point as the outfits. The top view got 57 million impressions across Saudi and Kuwait, beating benchmarks by up to 28%, 81% lift in awareness, 14.5% lift in conversion. The hashtag challenge got over 824 million video views, 365,319 user-generated content with unique reach of 10 million, smashing benchmarks by 50%, and video views of 30 million, smashing benchmarks by 1,982%, and reaching 64% of the total platform users in Saudi, amounting to around 15 million unique users, and millions of compliments too. A stylish example of how co-creation shows up online and in real life. Feeling inspired by Styly's story? Time to tell yours.